So it's gone from there, through the tree, up to the top, then down the other side, through the tree, and back to where it started. So this is the thing, is to make the, where are we? Well, you can see the button there, there's the tree. Right, just to make it look like it came up from the same place. So a little bit glue in there, I think, to hold it. You can see it's one at the back, one at the front. So we're going to do the front one next, and then I'll do the two back ones. Let me do it and I'll come back to you. Right guys, let me try and show you. It goes from there, which is a point on the mast. It doesn't tell you how far up the mast it should go. Anyway, it goes into the tree, up to the next tree, round the mast, from six places altogether. And then you do the same on the top tree, all the way up to the top of the mast. You can see I've still got a bit of thread to trim off there. And that's basically the standing rigging, apart from the rat tails, on the foremast done. So we'll start on the main mast tomorrow. Welcome back, folks. If you were with me in the last couple of videos, I was working on the foremast. Now we're moving forward onto the main mast. Say forward, moving backwards on the ship, but forward in practice. Now the start off with these brass rods which go at the bottom of the mast. In this case they're 13 centimeters long at the bottom. So like the last one, I marked 13, but I cut it just a touch bigger. Now I'm using bits that I've got left over because that's the easiest way to do it. So, and then the top ones are 31 millimeters. What did I say? The last one was 130 millimeters is what I meant. So this one, what I do is I mark them, and then I mark them slightly long, because when you cut these with end cutters, they leave a kind of an angle. If this is the rod, this is enlarged, it kind of leaves an end like that on it, and what you want is a nice square end. So I get rid of that bit with a grinder. Okay, hope that explains it. Now, got two 31s marked out there, one 30 on there. I need another 130, so I need another rod. One thing in this kit, they give you plenty of this brass rod, because later on you're going to mount the cannons using this. When I say mount the cannons, the cannons on the lower decks on the ship are just pushed in. Let's see if I can show you. You see all these little holes that we have for cannons. Behind them is a plate. So what you'll end up doing is drilling a 1 mil hole, and then mount the cannons on the end of a brass rod, push them in, and that's how they're mounted. Okay, let me cut this rod. Oops, you just went flying then. Repositioned and ready, very fine string. I'll just get a couple of strings ready, This is exactly the same as it was for the foam mask, so I'm just going to show you me positioning them, and then I'll carry on and tie them up, and I'll come back to you when they're done. Okay, that's a few just to be going on with. Now, if you remember, if you were here when I did the first ones, biggest problem here is I'm having to work around several cameras, so taking them down to just above where the knots are. I've got no lines. Just need to be held in place while I tie some knots in. So I think now I've just got down to the level of this decking here, this deck. Planking, not the planking, this thing here, the cover, I can't think what it's called, and this brass rod is now level with that, so get my trusty tweezers out. Try and do this without knocking cameras and yeah, I watch some guys tie knots with tweezers and they make it look so easy. It's not easy, it's just an acquired art. So backward there to the other side. So, oh, that's one knot in position. I hope I get another one along here. You notice that what I do is I use the diagonals, then we do the other diagonal. I'm pretty sure there must be an easier way of doing this, but I haven't discovered it yet. You see what happened there is one half of this string pulled and the other didn't. So that's two tied up. Make sure they're tied together. And then my favourite sticky stuff. This right, I'm just putting another nozzle on. Now, I put a big enough blob of sticky stuff in to cover this thread sticking to this thread and to the brass rod. We'll see how that does. and I'll carry on and do the other 9. I think it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, there's 11 on this one. And now I've got to take these clamps off and make sure that I've actually left a little bit sticking up on each side at the bottom bit there and a bit there. Yeah, it's just nice. Okay guys, I'm going to carry on and I'll come back to you when I've got them all tied up. But then this piece was 31. Okay, I'm probably pulling some of these strings in a bit. So now I've got to try and get a knot around it. As you can see, the weight of my peg is going to pull it away from me. Guys, where there's a will, there's a way. So there's a half a knot. So what I'm going to do, slide that through there like that, and pull it tight, like that. Now, that's only a half a knot. And you can see there's a bit sticking out on the ends of each, which come in handy because the cathar pin has to go across here, and that gets attached front and back, and then the first of the futtock shrouds come down and they get attached as well. And I can see already I've got a little bit touching up a paint to do on there. Okay, give a little pause. I'll come back in about 5 minutes, a few seconds for you. I realise it's only a few seconds for you, but it's the next day for me. You can see I've got the top spreader bar all tied up. It's parallel with the one on the other side. This one I've tied it up, taken all the ends off. I've just got to take the ends off this one, and then I'll put the cathar pins, which is the ropes from here to here. I'll put those on, and then I'll be back on the bench and I'll be preparing the futtock shrouds ready for installing on the tree. I'll be back with you in a few seconds. Futtock shroud manufacture is my next stage. So I've already cut 10 threads, probably longer than they need to be. Now what I need to do is cut 10 tie-ups. I'll do a couple on camera, then I shall just carry on and do the 10, and I'll come back to you when I'm ready to start putting them on the ship. That one's a bit short, I need them a bit longer than that. Got to tie up some loops. It's very difficult to remember sometimes how long a thread that you need for different things. The next one I'll have fun with is working out how much thread I need when I come to do the ratlines. I like to do the knot method, which means you do a full hitch on each rope. So I'm just counting how many threads I've got here. Yeah, when I do the ratlines, I do a full hitch on each rope. I think it looks better. That's my personal opinion. Six, must be 7, so 3 more. I'll put them up there so I don't get mixed up with all the other threads. There's a heck of a wastage of thread on this, but I mean, you've got to have room to work, which means you always cut off an awful lot more than you need, but that's part of the fun of the game. So, take one of these, put a knot in it down near the bottom. When I say down at the bottom, I mean more to one end than the other. Leave yourself enough to make a little loop. Yep. So, I need to open my box again so I can get to the dead eyes. Right, if I get 10 out already, now some of those, they're all supposed to be 3mm, but look at the difference in the size there. Well, I don't know if you can from that, the angle you're at. So what I do is I make a little loop on the end, put the dead eye in, arrange it so it's triangle, as I call it, a triangle of holes, so that one of them is always towards the joint. Put that over the top and pull it tight. Tight like that, and just put a little spot on. Now I'll put a new spout on my glue so I don't get loads and loads and loads coming out. These tubes, as they get towards this end, the hole gets bigger and bigger. So when it's long like this, it's ideal for this sort of job. Okay, if I do that for a few, that little bit of glue can be drying. So I'm just going to do two, as I said, on camera, and I'll carry on and do the others. The great thing about this part of the job is you can sit at the desk, get yourself comfortable. If you're so inclined, you can put some music on. I used to, when I was working on my own like this, I used to just put TV on and couldn't watch it, just listen to it. Right, so get my third hand again. This is where I hope you can actually see what I'm doing. Hope that my arms aren't in the way all the time. Where's the first one? This one. Clip the third hand on there. And this is how I do it. Notice the stress, this is how I do it. I make a little loop like this. I'm sure I've done this several times for videos as I've gone on. But and for the futtocks, you only need about 8 turns. There's 8 turns. And on the 8th turn, Here's the 8th turn again. This 8th turn doesn't want to play games. Right. As you come up off the 8th turn, put it into the loop. Don't pull it too tight. Just pull it so it lies in with the other thread, and then pull down on your initial loop. It pulls the thread into those 8 turns that you just made. Now, I don't know if you can see that, that's quite tidy. And then all I do is put a spot of glue top of the knot and the bottom of the knot, and then a little bit, the bit of black wool that's going to be cut off. I keep calling it wool. The bit of black thread that's going to be cut off, I just put a bit of glue on. Gives you a neat end when you come to cut it off. So that's one, just like that. Do the second one so you can see it. It's exactly the same method. Trying to do it so it's in the camera vision. I'm only using one camera today. Second camera is charging up in the corner. Learn to become very dexterous when you're doing these sort of things. The idea of pulling on the back rope is just to keep the tension on as you're pulling it in, so it doesn't pull all the way through and spoil all the work you've just done. There we are, guys, just like that. That's 2 done, just like that. Didn't take long, did it? Okay, I'll see you in a few minutes. Okay, futtock shrouds are made and installed on the starboard side. You can see that all I've done on the port side so far is put them through the holes in the cross trees. I shall put them onto the spreader bar next. I'll wait for this side to set because I need to rotate the whole model so it's round by my seat so I can see what I'm doing. I'm going to wait for these to set so I can snip these X ends off. So I'll be back with you in a few seconds. A few seconds for you is overnight for me. I've tied up the other half of the futtock shrouds. I think I got them fairly much in a straight line, and you can see they're all tied up. I've already trimmed the port side, the starboard side. I've only just finished putting them on. Okay, the next step is to make the shrouds for the topmast. I'll set the bench and do that. 10 strings with dead eyes, and then we'll be connecting them up to the dead eyes. I'll come back to you when I've got a bit more information on that. A few seconds. Just a quick few seconds to show that I've got the topmast futtock shrouds. Well, these are the futtocks under here, but these are the topmast shrouds are in. I've just got to do the top 2 levels. It's going to be done exactly like this bit here, with a single thread all the way up to the top. I shall carry on with that in the next phase of this video. It won't be today. I've already, I think, surpassed my time at this today. So I'll be back for you in a few seconds. Right, it's only been a few seconds for you. It's been a few days for me because I've been doing other things. Now, I'm just going to drill into these cross trees again. I didn't mark these with a centre. I didn't, like when I did the other mast, I pre-marked the spars with my tweezers. I haven't done it this time. We'll see how it does. Seems to be alright at the moment. My biggest problem here is getting my hands into the right position. Trying to keep them at the line of the camera, it's very difficult. My drill must be quite sharp because it's gone through this like it's a knife through butter. Now once again I'm keeping the board underneath so it stops any burrs from forming on the bottom of the piece that you're drilling. Trying to get them as close to the edge as I can. It's not the easiest job. They're not very big. And I don't want to put too much pressure on because the last thing I want to do is break them. Yeah, as I say, it's been a few days since I did anything on the ship because I've been busy doing a few other little jobs around the house. It's also been exceedingly cold. Right now I'm trying to get the temperature up in my shed. Thankfully it's insulated so it doesn't take long to warm up, but yeah, you just got to live with these things. Right, 2 more holes and we're done. I need to magnify it, see what I'm doing with this one. When you're looking at the drill, it looks almost the same size as the wood I want to go. There we are. That's the holes done. Now, same as before, same as the foremast, it goes from here to there, up to here, down to there, and then back into here. So, and then the same up above. So I'll do that and I'll come back to you when it's done. Right guys, just to finish this main mast off, you can see the ropes are connected all the way up. It's a mess at the moment because the ends aren't cut off, but it's all the way up to the top of the main mast. Sorry, if you were sat here watching me do every single string that's the same after the last one, after the last one, after the last one, you would be pretty bored of these videos. I try to keep them interesting. Let's see how to get in place. Just like that. Now this graph paper is 5mm graph paper. That's where it belongs. So somehow I've got to try and get this to sit just in, oh look at that, which is the thin thread to CT6. So if you're not very good with tweezers, you will be by the time you've done this a few times. So what I do is I go I've got to work out how to do it from this side that I'm working on now. Okay, I think I've got it. So, go around the back. Under the loop. Back round again. Go through the loop. You see, once you got past the first knot, it's a lot easier. So, if you pull it tight, we'll still slide up and down that thread. Okay, now I can do it without thinking about it. Around the back, underneath, and then it's still not working right. I went round the back from the wrong side. Here you go. Right, round the back, and you can go above or below. Makes no difference. What makes a difference is when you come back round the second time, you go through that loop. Do you see that? That's first time. So let's do this. I can do it underneath easier. It's a lot easier. Making a right hash is showing you how I do this. I've only done it about 1,000,000 times. So, under, make a knot, not make a knot, through the top, around the top, and come back through this big loop that you've just made, like that, right, and pull it. So, try it again. So, try to keep my hands out of the way of the camera. You see what happens is you end up with you can end up with big loops, but not necessarily. So, through there and through here. Once again. Underneath. You can see why I said you need twice the length. It's amazing how much string a little knot can take up. Through it. Right now. The great thing of this is you can adjust. You see that by getting this. See that? The knots slip, which is the whole idea. Now, what we're going to try and do is get 5 mils from that bar to the next row. You see how you can move them up and down? Most times you can't anyway. Too high. And that, guys, is 5mm. Is it? Yep, you can see it's 5mm. Hope you can see that on there. Don't worry about these little loops and what have you. Now what I tend to do, what I like to do, just tighten them up a bit. Only because I don't want huge knots. Double check that 5mm. Right. And then you don't need to glue all the in between ones, just the ends. I think this pipette on the end of my glue is getting a little bit old now. I can see the glue coming down the tube. Just a little spot. That's all it needs. That will hold it. Okay. So, well folks, it's been 3 weeks of sometimes quite tedious toil. I don't know if you can see, put my hand behind it, all the ladders are now in position, all, so it's the main mast, lower section, the top mast, and of course there are ropes on the backs and again on the mizzen mast. If you're having a go at this, I work on this about 2 or maybe 3 hours a day, no more, because it hurts my back to bend over all the time. A lot of the time I've had this down on the floor to work. But there you go, 3 weeks work. All the ratlines are on. The next job is to paint them black over the top. It covers up, I suppose, the cyano, which is on the ends, but also it will simulate them being covered in tar, which is what they would be at sea. Okay, I shall do that and I'll come back to you when I'm doing it. Right, I'm back on the other side with some fresh paint. It's important to note you don't use a lot of paint, so that's another reason for having the tissue handy. Tissue, use kitchen tissue. You can use it like a sponge to mop up any excess. You'll know when you've got it covered because you see the glue lines disappear. I just hope you can see what I'm doing here. I'll get on to the bottom bit in a minute. I've done the top ladders on the other side. Another reason for putting the tissue behind rope ladder, the ratlines, rope ladder, whatever you want to call it. Its proper name is ratlines. I want to get this done today because the next stage is to do some I suppose you call them back stays. It's the supports from the tops of the mast down to the dead eye rail. So from here down, I hope you can see where I'm looking. Because this paint being thinned down is going to set very quickly, so I'm trying to get it done while I can before it all dries up in my little pot. Yeah, I was saying earlier that it's been 3 weeks I've been doing Ratlines. It's only about 2 hours a day, but that 2 hours a day does take its toll. See, once again I forgot to move the wire across, tissue across, and of course if you water the paint down too much to make it easier to spread it on, it doesn't then stick to these brass rods, and you have to try and find a thick part of the paint to be able to get it right. Which is exactly what I'm working on at the moment. Now for the fun part is trying to get the inside of those rails without getting paint all over your nice model. Sorry if all you're getting is my face, but that's the joy of trying to video while you're working. It's one done. Trying to just move around. Oh, I didn't want to do it. See if you can see what I'm doing on the inside of those rails. I've no idea if this will show up. I'll find out when I edit the video later on. So many little bits of the ship just waiting to catch you out. That's that. And I see one rope that's come untied. I shall retie that, put a little bit of glue on it, and we'll call it a quits on that one. So, if you like what I'm doing, I've said this so many times, you should be fed up hearing it by now. Feel free to like, share, send it to your friends if you like, subscribe. And when you subscribe, you see a little bell will come up. If you click on that bell, that's a notification, and you'll be told whenever any new videos are appear on my site. Which, under normal circumstances, will be Mondays and Thursday evenings. And there hasn't been any for 3 weeks because I didn't see the point in showing you every single ratline being put in, but hopefully we're going to get back to normal now, because the next stage is to actually install those stays. Here's the rope that's not fastened. Yeah, as I was saying, so we go back to Mondays and Thursday evenings. Hopefully, this one may not come out until Friday, because I'm going out tonight. And then tomorrow, like I said, I'm going to be at my dentist. That was my tweezers just taking a run to the floor. Got a little blob of glue on that, which will hopefully set up, and then I can nip off the excess string tomorrow. Okay guys, I'll see you on the next one.